Welcome back to another opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve, not just on your own, but part of a whole community of people, including myself, that are growing together. Today, I want to dive into the message that landed on my lap again last night. It's landed on my lap many times before, but sometimes we forget what we've learned in the past. We have to come back to it. Repetition is important. But last night, as I was thinking about closing out 2021 and moving into 2022, I was thinking about all the things that I wanted to create for myself, specifically around coaching and growing my YouTube channel. And as I was thinking about this, I found myself getting extremely anxious, getting caught up in this scarcity mindset of not trusting myself, having doubts about whether I can actually do coaching and that if I can actually grow my YouTube channel. And I was feeling this intensity in my chest and having those thoughts of doubt and insecurity and worry come up for me. And in this moment, I did what I normally do, the practices that we talk about on here, of changing my state, changing my physiological state by changing my breathing pattern from a constricted breathing pattern into that elevated breathing pattern where I was taking full breaths, changing my state so that I can change my perspective on what I was experiencing, right? As soon as I did that breathing, my clarity came back online. And in that moment, and here's the message, I recognize that as we are moving into the visions that we have for ourselves, whether it's you want a YouTube channel or you want to become a better coach, or perhaps you just want to have a life where you're not always caught up in your anxiety and you have more peace and clarity in your life. As we move into that vision of ourselves, there's going to be a psychological resistance that comes up as we move from where we currently are to where we want to go. The reason being is because your ego, your brain wants to keep you safe in survival, right? And so what the ego will do is it will keep you in a place of certainty, of comfort, what you know, what you've already experienced in the past. And so even if your comfort zone is painful, right? The certainty, if you've lived with anxiety your whole life, it's what you know. That's going to be your comfort zone. It's what you know. And your ego is going to want to keep you there. And so as you make plans or goals or steps into this vision that you have for yourself of a higher quality life, there's going to be psychological resistance, and that can show up as intense anxiety, which I was experiencing last night, and it feels terrible in that moment. But if you could recognize that this is just a sign that you are growing, that you're coming up against a barrier in your growth that you need to break through, then you could use the tools so that instead of it being this big, gigantic wall, instead you could see that it's a wall, but you could walk around it. Or maybe there's a door that you're not seeing immediately. And the way that we do this is by what I did last night. Simply using the tool of cognitive behavioral therapy worked for me last night, where I changed my breathing pattern so that I could change my state, change my energy, so then I could look at what was happening to me differently and see what was actually happening instead of getting caught up in identifying with that anxiety. Scarcity mindset to abundance mindset. Scarcity energy to abundance, confidence energy. By changing my physiological state, having a macro perspective on what was happening. And as I had that macro perspective on what was happening, I was able to see, oh, this is just my outdated, conditioned distrust that I got from a young age when my mom didn't trust me to do things around the house, and she would constantly watch over me as I was in the kitchen or do things over after I had already done them, breeding this distrust in me that I have grown up with and made my own pattern. Recognizing that that was at play and recognizing this growth barrier that was at play. And then I was able to recognize, oh, this is just a sign that I'm making progress towards my vision of wanting to create this YouTube channel, of wanting to be a coach, a better coach. And in that moment, that energy shifted, and that tightness in my chest totally disappeared, literally disappeared, and turned into excitement and confidence so that I could move forward in my trajectory, in my path forward. And this takes time. Again, I have learned this message many times in the past, but sometimes we forget. We learn a big message, we implement it. As we're implementing it, we get caught up in then making progress, and then we fall on our face, and we have to remember it again. And it's a constant process. Growth takes time. You are unlearning this conditioning that has been with you for so many years from a very young age. And so as you go along in this growth, the resistances are going to come up. And if you could have this both and approach, both recognizing what is happening and keeping a vision for the future, keeping your eye on that vision, you can move through and transmute that energy. And as you transmute that energy, you're stepping into your powerful, authentic self. Because those goals that you're creating for yourself, that's what you want for yourself. That's coming from a deeper part, a higher level of who you are, your authentic self. So you're stepping into your power by moving into that vision instead of getting caught up and identifying with that scarcity mindset. And so the way, again, that you do this, repetition, it's going to come up multiple times. Repetition in having a tool for when that anxiety or whatever that resistance looks like for you, sadness or depression or anxiety, whatever it looks like for you, again, when it comes up, having a tool to move forward. For me, last night, cognitive behavioral therapy worked great. I set boundaries around myself. I said I can't talk to anybody. I just need a few minutes to myself. And as I did that, that grossness in my chest, that grossness in my mind, outdated thought patterns and habits, I was able to sit there, move around, and then move forward into walking on my path from my power. This was so liberating to me last night. I actually recorded a video last night, but the quality of it wasn't that good. So I want to do it again for you guys. If this message speaks to you, please feel free to drop a comment down below or message me on Instagram if you want to be more private. I want you guys to really feel how powerful this can be for yourself, just because it was so powerful for me last night. And let's have a conversation about it. Where are you getting caught up? What tools are you using when that resistance comes up? How can you keep a both and vision to move forward? If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them. And as always, only if you find value in this content, a like goes a long way and a subscription goes a really long way. Anyways, if I don't see you in the comments or on my Instagram for a conversation, then I will look forward to seeing you in the next video as we step into 2022 legitimately and into these goals that we're setting for ourselves, these visions that we have for ourselves. Much love. I'll see you very soon.